All right, welcome to the Foxy Property Chat podcast. Eran Malloch, a real estate marketing specialist from realestatemarketing.net.au. How are you today, Eran?
I'm good, thanks, Cody. Yourself?
Excellent, thank you. Now, I've got a question for you before we really get into things.
Yeah.
I read on one of your LinkedIn articles that you're a bit of a comic geek. So to kick things off, who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, do you know, that's a good question.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Do you know what? One of my favourites is a bad guy from the DC universe, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, the Terminator.
Oh,
I don't know if you recognise that name. I'm
really.
a lot older than you, so that's going back a bit.
I like it. I appreciate that, and
yeah.
I might have to do a bit of Googling after this.
Yeah.
Check out who that is.
Beyond your mainstream Marvel guys, I don't know. There's lots of them I like, so...
Yeah, fair enough. So can you tell me a little bit about your business? You're based in Perth, aren't you?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay, so what is it that you do for your clients?
So I've been in the digital marketing space for almost 14 and a half years now, and probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I got the opportunity to become self-employed and decided to start up offering those kind of services. And for better or for worse, I chose the real estate industry. So what I mostly do is help them with their online lead generation. And because most sellers are interested in seller leads, it's primarily that side of it. But also I do a fair bit of work helping them with growing their brand online and getting people to know, like, and trust them around their marketplace.
Okay, so how long have you been doing that for now?
Working with agents, probably, I would say maybe about 3 years, I guess.
Yep.
There was about a year and a half where it was fairly part-time. My partner, unfortunately, got diagnosed with cancer, and so that kept us busy with me looking after her. Thankfully, she's okay, but that was kind of a part-time occupation there for a while.
Sure. Yep.
So...
Yeah. And how did you get sort of into marketing in the first place? Did you mention about 14 years ago, was it?
Yeah. So I was actually in sales for about, I'd say probably about 12 odd years. I used to be in the IT industry, so I was sell computer hardware and software, and also IT certification training and software training as a rule. And I guess at the end of the day, I got sick of cold calling for a living. And I think it was Google had started to just become popular with AdWords. And it was kind of I like the idea of having the prospective client come to me rather than me have to chase them and harass them.
That makes sense.
Yep. So, I just made the career switch and got lucky and found a job that got me into the industry, and haven't looked back since.
Look like you got a lot of books there behind you. Are they? I can't see many of the titles or anything, but are they sort of
marketing
fiction? They're all marketing and
marketing. This side is some fiction stuff, but all of that is marketing, mostly marketing and sales related stuff.
What's one, if you can? I don't know if you can turn around and see one, but what's one or two of your favourites?
Oh,
what ones would you recommend to people?
Oh my God, there's so.
Or are they very specialised?
There's so many.
So many.
Do you know what? That's a tough one.
That's all right.
Yeah. Look, they're all around different areas, so it kind of depends on where you're at and what you need to learn. So,
suffice to say, you're a well-read man.
I try. I don't seem to get time to read these much these days, but
fair enough.
Say lovely.
So, from what you've seen in your 3.5 years in real estate, what to you makes a really good real estate agent?
Look, marketing aside, I think like any kind of sales role, because like it or not, a real estate agent is first and foremost a salesperson.
Yep.
I think someone who's honest and ethical, because whether they like it or not, the real estate industry doesn't have a great reputation in that department, and it's the same old, the usual few small bad eggs tarnish the rest of them. But ethics and honesty is a good thing. Willing to work hard, and being, I guess, committed to giving your customers a great result. And, it doesn't hurt if they're just generally a nice person. I mean, we've all run across the odd, particularly in sales, not just the real estate, we've all run across the odd arrogant narcissist, and they're everywhere.
Sure.
But, I
guess all those traits equal success in sort of any industry, though.
Yeah. I think you could say that for any job. All those sort of characteristics are going to apply across just about any job.
Yeah, sure. So compared to other industries, professions, how would you rank real estate agents when it comes to digital marketing? Do you think as a whole they're doing a good job? Really?
They get the big thumbs down.
Really?
From me. Yeah.
Really? Why?
Well, like seriously, I had clients 10, 14 years ago in basic little industries like physiotherapy, chiropractic, tyre shops that are more advanced when it comes to digital marketing than the real estate industry as a whole. And I think that's partly got to do with realestate.com.au has such a huge, big power in the industry.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and so agents have never really, I guess, been forced to have to learn to do this stuff themselves, and they've kind of, I guess, outsourced it to some extent to realestate.com.au.
Wow. I've never thought about that before.
So, it amazes me the level of expertise or lack of expertise I see out there. I mean, I get lots of people coming to me for help because they just don't know the basics. So, there's obviously something wrong out there. Now, there are individuals there that do a fantastic job.
Of course,
here in Perth, we've got a guy by the name of Paul Tonich, who some of your listeners might know. He's probably one of the best real estate agents from the social media perspective out there. He's probably the star. There's a guy in...
What was his surname? Tonich?
Tonich, Tonich. I think he had his own agency. I think he's just moved across to... I think he's gone across to the agency. Like in the last... I think they only started in the last week, but he's been around for a long time. There's another guy in Queensland that I know and have interviewed before on my website by the name of Scott Lackman from Richardson and Wrench in Caboolture. In my opinion, he's probably one of the bright stars in the world when it comes to digital marketing. And his is more around content creation, using a website and using YouTube rather than running ads. But like he's the market leader in his space because of what he's done.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. I'll certainly check them out. I'm always looking for this podcast. I speak to people like yourself who work with agents, but I'm always looking for agents themselves to see if I can find people doing really good stuff. And
happy to introduce you to Scott if you want, because I know he does go on podcasts. Yeah, no,
that'd be fantastic. That'd be really good, and just pick his brains, I suppose, because as you say, it's actually been kind of hard for me to find a lot of examples of people doing a really good job. I have found some, and to be honest, I haven't spent heaps of time, but it's not as easy as I thought it would have been to find the agents out there just really killing it on social media and digital spaces.
I'll give you an example. Things like, if I was a real estate agent, which I'm not, and I don't think I ever will choose to become one, but if I were to, the first thing I do is set my own website up, but practically no agents have their own website. They all leave it to the agency website, and some agencies won't even let them have their own website, which I think is not very smart.
Yeah, really? But, I didn't know that. Yeah.
But, as a tool...
Why is that, do you think?
Because I think in a lot of cases they want to control the brand, and they don't want people to go off. And look, there's always the risk. We've got to be honest about it. There's always the risk that the agent will do a great job and eventually leave the agency, and they've got their own brand. So, from a perspective of an agency principal, I understand that mindset, but I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by not letting them do it or even helping them do it. So, and that's just a simple example.
So that actually transitioned perfectly into my next question, which was around what's the minimum, if you had a checklist that every agent should have as a minimum? So a website is one, their own website is one.
Look, I think having your own website is good, and there's a couple of reasons for that beyond the obvious. So, if you're going to run any advertising offline and or online, then it's great to have a website that you can send people to, that you have control over the process. Excuse me. So that's first thing. Secondly, it's a great way to build your profile and brand by publishing content on there, whether it's video or written stuff like blogs, for example. So it's certainly that. And then, the obvious thing I would say, everyone should have a Facebook page for themselves, and as a consequence, a Facebook ad account. They're kind of the minimums I would start with. I encourage agents to also have a Google Ads account, but they don't all necessarily use that. That's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah, right. And what about, would you suggest they look at things like LinkedIn? I know you're on there, and maybe like Instagram as well?
So LinkedIn, actually I had this conversation with a guy yesterday or the day before. LinkedIn's a great platform, but it's B2B. And if you're paying and most real estate agents are in the B2C, business to consumer market. So it's going to be really difficult for you to connect on there with people like that unless you've got a specific target audience that's in the B2B space. So, if you chose to be the agent that deals with, IT managers, just as a wild example, then LinkedIn would be a good place to find them. Most
or perhaps
people,
commercial real estate as well.
Yeah, well, commercial's the one where you've probably got a better choice. So a lot of people don't do LinkedIn well. I'll be honest with you, I don't use it a lot. It's not my favorite platform, but I know in the right circumstances, the right person with the right strategy, it can be very effective. And Instagram, look, sure, set up an Instagram. I'm not a big Instagram user. I have to be honest, I don't quote unquote get it. I mean, I just find Facebook is a much better platform, but that's a personal choice. And I know a lot of people use Instagram very successfully. So I certainly say, it's a free account, set it up, link it to your Facebook page and your Facebook ad account, and you can do more stuff with it.
And you said it's a whole nother topic, and we could have a separate podcast on it. But I don't know, as briefly as you can, what would be a strategy behind, or how are people using the Google Ads in real estate?
So there's two sides to Google Ads. Most people are familiar with the side where you go to Google and do a search. So that's called search ads. So it's very easy for you to get your ad there. So if someone searches a real estate agent and your suburb name, for example, you can have your ad show up. Now, easy to do, expensive, and if you don't know what you're doing, you'll get crucified by the big lead gen companies like OpenAgent and those sort of guys. But it's certainly something anyone could set up pretty easily. But Google also has a separate side, which a lot of people don't know about, called the Google Display Network. So often when you're visiting other websites, you see banner ads all over the place. A lot of them are served from Google Ads. So you can actually have branding type ads out there on other websites that literally people can see when they're going around. You can even follow them around using remarketing or retargeting, or as we in the industry like to call it, online stalking.
Stalking, yeah.
Nothing creepy about that at all.
No.
So, it can be a powerful tool if it's used properly. I would have to say for an agent, if I had a choice between Google and Facebook, I'd go Facebook at the moment. I think there's more flexibility and more options, but Google's a powerful tool if you learn to use it properly.
Gotcha. All right. So when it comes to creating content and posting, what's some low-hanging fruit or some ways that people can get started in the digital sort of marketing landscape? Does that make sense? So what sort of content can they be, just if they're just getting started, what sort of content should they be posting?
Sure. So probably the easiest thing to start with is there's something I call the give to get investment. And what that means is find out the questions people have about buying and selling real estate in your market and answer those questions in preferably videos. The easiest way to do it. Get your phone out and shoot a video and then publish it. Everyone selling real estate has questions like, how much is my home worth? When's the best time to sell? What do I need to do to my home to increase the amount of money I make from it? How are you going to get more buyers through the door? Literally every agent could probably come up with 100 questions over time and shoot essentially Q&A type questions.
Okay.
Record them in video. You can publish the video on Facebook. You can publish it on YouTube, so you can repurpose it. You can have the video transcribed very cheaply using a website called Rev. That's rev.com. And they cost $1 per audio minute of transcription. I use them all the time. And then once you've got the transcription, you can then take that, go to your website and post the text as a blog post with the video at the top. So you've got multiple ways you can create one piece of content and then repurpose it in multiple ways. And that's a great way to get up there and, over time put together 50 or 100 different types of pieces of content that answer questions people have. And then you can if you've got your own website or even a YouTube channel, you can direct people there to check out that content. So that's a great way to brand yourself as being a useful and a helpful real estate agent rather than someone who's got a bad case of commission breath.
Yeah, I like that. And hopefully that perhaps gets some conversation started too. Some people might have follow-on questions and you can start engaging in the community and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. You look at this from a home seller's perspective, because most agents want people to sell their home, or they want to list with the agent. So, I don't know what the stats are depending on where you are, but most people I hear say that, people sell their home maybe once every 10 years, and that could be up to 15 now. So let's say it's 10 years just for round numbers. Probably about 9 years and then 6 months of that 10 years, they don't give a damn about real estate. They're not in the, I'm thinking of selling my home, I need to start thinking about this, researching, etc., etc. So what are you going to tell them? What are you going to give them that's not just, hey, call me to get an appraisal on your property, or call me to list and sell your home, or, here's my home open times, and here's what I listed and sold, and here's how much money I made from my event. What are you going to do in that other 9 years and 6 months?
That's a good point.
So, I think that's a big thing. And that's something you don't need to be anyone special to do that.
Yep. So, we might have sort of talked around it a little bit, but what are some of the mistakes you see real estate agents making when it comes to posting online?
Well, look, the first biggest mistake that just about all of them make is particularly on social media, because it's so easy to post on Facebook. So, that's the one that most people do. And also most people don't have a website. So probably the biggest mistake they do is they only post their listings, their home opens, and their sales results, and call me if you want to sell your home and I'll give you a free appraisal. Like I said, 9 years and 6 months out of the average 10 years or whatever it is, they don't care about that stuff. So don't talk to them about that, because all you're doing is just getting in their face and annoying them. So, give them information that's useful. I mentioned earlier Scott Lackman from Richardson and Wrench. So he's a perfect example of somebody who's taken this to the nth degree. So he basically went out and started interviewing people in his community on video, just about community-related stuff. So whether he was interviewing a Shire councillor about some special thing coming up, or a cancer survivor who has had a group going, or someone at the school that's got a project on or whatever, and he started publishing those videos initially on YouTube. He then built a website, a community website for Caboolture.
Okay. Wow.
Which is 4510tv.com. And if you go and look at that site, Scott gets on average probably somewhere between 90 and 100,000 visitors a month to that website, which is massive. And he doesn't. I don't think he spends any money on Google ads for that. It's all coming in organically from Google searches.
Yep.
So, that's a fantastic way to brand himself.
Yeah, wow. Have you got any other examples, I suppose, of, like we touched on, where people should have it, or should have as a minimum, and what they should be doing as a minimum, but there's one really good example from Scott. Have you got any other examples of what people can do to sort of, who are really upping the game?
Look, there's plenty out there, whether I can think of them. I know you don't
have to give names, but just in general, just people who are, I don't know if there's any sort of good marketing examples out there.
Well, I know that in Queensland, there's an agent by the name of Chris Gilmore, who is very good. I don't know if you know Chris.
We know he's pretty close to where we are located, actually,
cool.
Our warehouse,
So you've probably seen all of his stuff on Facebook. So he's pretty prolific in his publishing of content and videos and all that kind of stuff. So he's a good example of someone who's done a far better than average job. One of my clients here in Perth, Murray Wellington from Wellington and Barber Real Estate. Over time, I've got him into the state of being able to get content out there. So like the FAQ style videos I talked about earlier, we've done a lot of video sessions, recorded a lot of them, and we publish a lot of them quite regularly, mostly using Facebook to push them out to a bigger audience. They're just a couple of examples.
So say if someone's posting some regular content, helpful content, Q&A type content, would you suggest then, and also repurposing it across the website, maybe a LinkedIn article with the transcription from rev.com on Facebook video, would you suggest they then take it to another level and perhaps run ads to that content?
Yes. See, here's the thing. If you've got stuff on Facebook, anyone who's got a Facebook page probably already knows that when you post something, if you're lucky, one person or 10 people in 1,000 might see it. So at one stage when Facebook first started, if you had fans of your page and you posted stuff, everybody saw it, and it was like, yay, free publicity. So Facebook slowly but steadily turned that down, and you're pretty well now in a position with Facebook, you've got to pay to play. So that means if you've got content and you want to get it out to your audience, you have to spend money on ads. And it could be as little as, I think the smallest amount you can do is it's either $1 or $2 a day. For most clients, I say, look, if you can spend, $5 or $10 a day, just getting regular content out to your audience on an ongoing basis, that's a good way to stay in front of your audience. And most agents work at a local level, so they don't need to target an entire city. They may only need to target one or two suburbs, and a small budget will get through to a lot of those local things quite easily.
Yeah, and it's not, we do a bit of ads, and it's not too difficult once you play around in the ads manager to learn what you're doing, and you can certainly, it can certainly be complicated, but it can be pretty straightforward as well once you've run a few ads.
Yeah, look, I think most agents still just use the phone and the boost button, which is fine. I mean, for on the run, it's great. I tell people without intending to be rude about it, that it's kind of Facebook ads for dummies, but it's a good tool to use on the move. But the Facebook Ads Manager, which is the more advanced platform on Facebook, is much more powerful. Gives you a lot more options. One of the things I've done over the past is train agents in digital marketing. I used to teach at Rewa for about 1.5 years doing that. Yep. So a lot of them came in, and a lot of them hadn't even seen the Ads Manager before, didn't know it existed. Yep. And by the end of that, they would be able to know how to set up an ad and choose all of the targeting options they want. And whether they were promoting, get a free appraisal, or, hey, here's my latest article about X, it's still a great tool to get your message out there.
Absolutely. What do you think's stopping people from posting more regularly?
Look, the first thing I would say is posting more regularly is not necessarily the answer.
Or posting it all, maybe.
Yeah. So posting it all is, I'm sure time has a factor there. Look, I'm in the space, I'm of the mindset, and I still struggle to find time to do stuff, or at least to remember to do stuff. So I'd say that's the biggest one. And then I think for other people, it's probably a case of, what do I say? I don't know what to say. If I've put my home opens up, I put my listing results, and I put my sales results up, and I've told people if they want a free appraisal, call me. What else do I say? And that's where I said, sit down and write that list of 50 or 100 questions that people have. And the easiest way to find those questions, number one, look in your emails. So you've got emails from clients and prospective clients, pull all the questions out, put it into a spreadsheet. Look in your phone, in your SMS for questions. Go to other agents in the office and say, what are the common questions people ask you? When you do home opens, what kind of questions do people ask you? Anytime I have an agent I'm talking to about becoming a client, if they ask me a question that I hadn't thought about before, I'll write it down, and then I will try and shoot a video or write a blog post about it later on. So if you get in the habit of looking for what people are asking you and then creating content out of it, it can become it's like anything. It's a habit. You build muscle with repetition and habit and exercise, and it's the same with content marketing. If you're going to do it, it's just something you have to make a time for, and make it as quick and easy as possible. That's why I love using the phone for just about everything. Yeah, you can turn it on. You can shoot a 30 or a 60-second video, send it live, done. Yeah. So that's a good one. I appreciate that. And so if someone was to sort of wanting to learn more about you, your website is realestatemarketing.net.au? Yeah, so that's, I guess, my main site. And I also have a separate site I've just launched in the last, I suppose, couple of weeks. And that's mostly for agents who are wanting help to get seller leads, which is what they mostly want. So you can check out realestatesellerleads.paperform, PAPERFOOM.co, not .com. Yeah, no, that's all right. We'll put those links in the podcast show notes and on the YouTube channel as well, if this is up on YouTube. So what's that all about, the leads business? So apart from leads. So look, as I said, I was a guest trainer at REA for about 1.5 years teaching agents about basic digital marketing, and I turned that into an online course at REA's request, and then at the last second, the government department that manages the CPD points program decided it wasn't going to get any points. So I had this course and no one to sell it to at REA, so I basically started selling it around the country, and discovered that a lot of people liked the course, but they didn't have time to get in and learn it and put ads up. So what I've done now is I put together a package where you can get the course, and I'll set you my best performing seller lead gen up in your Facebook ad account, and a lead capture web page with it. So I like it. Going great guns. I think we sold 20 of them in the last week and a half. Oh, well done. Yeah, I like it. So pretty exciting. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Eran. And no problems. If anyone wants to reach out, is your website the best place, or LinkedIn or Facebook? probably just ring me or SMS me if you want.
Give them a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0412 799 688. That's the easiest. I got too many places around there.
No, I understand. Yeah, no problem at all. Well, thanks very much again, Eran.
No worries, Cody. Nice to meet you and all the best.